what's going on YouTube? So I wanted to come back and do my part 4 of the NHL Hitz 2003 season mode. I am 9 games through the season so far, so this is the third part actually of the 4 games I'm going to do in the regular season. And as you can see right now, I am 6-3. Like I said, I did simulate through a few of the games. I think I've only played 1 or 2 games outside of the games that have been recorded. So I'm going to go with my normal lineup, which is Roenick, Yzerman, and Bure, and then I'm going to go with Richter in goal actually this game. Try to change it up a little bit, and we are going to play in the regular New York Islanders rink. Sometimes I like to pick a different rink, but honestly, I deleted a lot of the stuff that was on NHL Hitz from my old memory card for the game, so most of the different rinks I actually don't have unlocked right now, so I really only have the basic few. But we are going to get started in this game. Going to go through the starting lineups. Like I said, for me it's pretty much the reg. Roenick at center, Yzerman at wing, and then Bure on D. But I did make a change up in goal with Richter in goal for this game. And then for the Islanders, I want to say they do have Byron Dafoe in goal, and I do think that he was on one of the teams I played previously, because I have not played the Islanders yet. They have Rob Blake, John LeClaire, and I want to say George Larocque starting. And then I think they made a trade for Byron Dafoe. But anyway, coming to the first puck drop here. As we get this game started, I did want to mention that my X button was real laggy for this game. Wasn't so bad the game I did after. I don't know what it was. There just seemed to be a little bit of a delay, and a lot of my passes are going to seem late or just non-existent, and a lot of my switching players are going to feel the same way. Like I said, the second game I played went a lot smoother, but for some reason this game I don't know if it was just me or the controller, because this was pretty late at night, but it just didn't seem like it was working right. So, like I said, so far on the season I am 6-3, pretty much for all intents and purposes. Already locked up a playoff spot. Like I said, this is a 14-game season, so it's obviously not the full 82 games. And it'll be interesting to see who I play in the first round. Like I said, if we're looking at it from what's happened for most of the season, then I'll probably get the second seed. Like it was either Ottawa or Buffalo had a pretty good grip on the first seed. I should be coming back in the next couple days with the first round of the playoffs. As you can see here, we got our first fight. I do believe I lose this. Like I said, the X button wasn't working so well, and George Larocque is a very good fighter on this game, so I think I do get beat pretty bad here. Kept on trying to hit him with the quick body punches, but it just wasn't happening. He knocks me out there. Then I throw in Brett Hull. I end up making a switch to my lineup, putting in I believe it is Adam Foote for Brett Hull, but I end up moving Bure to center, Yzerman to wing, and then Foote to defense. I never really liked keeping a lineup with so much offense and so little checking, because my draft was very offense heavy. I do have a few guys that can hit pretty hard. Obviously Roenick, Adam Foote, Jim Dowd, but I never really played Jim Dowd, so I never actually went out and got any guy that was like a huge hitter, like most teams do with finding just one goon. Because I mean, by the time you reach the halfway point of the season, regardless if you are playing 82 games or just 14, most teams are playing some bruiser in their lineup instead of their normal starting 3. So I never really understood it. I mean, I get you want to hit hard on defense, but there's so much so much movement in this game, and so many shots that the amount of offense and speed you lose from that, and the fact that, like I said, most defensemen are going to pinch, so you need that speed to get back. But if you're just, obviously it's NHL Hitz, so if you're just looking to hit people, then I guess that's a good way to do it. But I would never go for just the individual tough. I would try to go for an all-around rating, because really the toughness rating is kind of a lie. If you're good at fighting, you're good at fighting. If you're bad, you're bad. Really, it's about just who can button mash the fastest and who can figure out the best combination to win. I mean, obviously, having a guy like George Laraque against Pavel Bure is not. If you're using Pavel Bure, it's not going to be in your favor. But you know, if you can do it right, you can do it right. I've played against people that have only played NHL Hitz a little bit, and you know, obviously, I played this game quite a bit as a kid. So, and I've had some a guy that maybe had around a 60 toughness rating and 50 hitting. So, and obviously beat whatever goon they were using. Anyway, backtrack back to the game here. As you guys can see, I switched my lineup back to Pavel Bure at center, Yzerman at wing, and then Adam Foote on defense. And I'm keeping Mike Richter in goal. He has played pretty solid this game, still pitching the shutout. This is the first game that I have not used Happy Bull, and I'm pretty sure that one of the games that I've seen through, Richter has been in goal. I picked a good backup goalie for a reason, just because sometimes it's fun to go with the alternate, or if one just seems to not be good in one season, then you can throw in the backup when you need to. This game has probably had the most inconsistent goalie ratings I've ever seen, because it seems like every time I have Patrick Roy or Marty Brodeur in goal, they play terrible. And then, I mean, I won't lie, though, whenever you put a 60 overall in goal, you're probably not going to be doing so hot. But, like, playing with a guy like Mike Richter or Nikolai Khabibulin, even though Khabibulin is pretty high rated overall, most of the time you're going to be all right. So that's one of the reasons why I never pick a goalie in the first round. I think the earliest I'll ever really go is round 3 or 4, just because the drop off from like rounds 2 to 4 with the player talent, obviously that's when you lose your starting 3 if you don't pick a player by then, is pretty enormous. So like I said, I like to go out and get the players beforehand. And I always like picking up a guy like Pavel Bure, just because I like having someone that will actually just bury straight up shots, a guy that you don't need to have a good angle one-timer to score goals. Obviously Roenick and Yzerman can score, but they normally they just are pretty good all-around players. Bure's like a 98, 99 on speed and scoring, so that's pretty much all he does. I guess his passing rating's like a 70 or an 80, somewhere in that range, so not great, but not bad either. As you guys can see, I haven't really elaborated on what's going on exactly in the game. I do have the 2-0 lead right now. Pretty low scoring game. Like I said, my passing was a little bit off, and my scoring was a little bit slow this game anyway. I do believe I have around my normal relish shots. I want to say I had somewhere around 45 shots to finish off this game. But we are coming up to the end of the second period, and I do only have 2 goals. I believe Bure and Yzerman netted both of them. Might have only been one of them. Anyway, they've been pretty much the ones that have been giving me all my goals this year, because pretty much every time I play a game, Roenick ends up getting in both fights. Unless he loses the first one, then it's Roenick and Yzerman. And I think 2 of the games out of the 3 so far, I ended up losing the first fight, and then ended up winning the second. And like I said, with the team starting their goons, it is kind of hard to win 2 consecutive fights with a guy that has pretty much a subpar toughness rating. But as you guys can see, I get in my second fight here. It's Yzerman and Laraque, and I was pretty sure I was going to lose, but I believe I managed to pull this one out, which actually I believe they end up putting in Sergei Zubov, so the overall improvement was actually drastic for them. I believe that he is, yeah, dropped him right there. I think it's funny when people actually go the entire fight without someone winning, and the fight meter expires, or the fight time expires. I don't think I've ever done that myself. Maybe besides when I first started playing the game, but and that has to be a boring fight for that to happen. So ending the period at a 2-0, or with a 2-0 lead. I'm gonna start out the next period with a 2-on-2. I believe we got about 20 seconds left on that one. Out shooting him 28-11. So Richter is playing solid for me so far. There were quite a few. I only think I played 3 games with Hobby Bull, and before that maybe 3 or 4. But it seemed like every single game I played with Hobby Bull, and he was letting in like 3 goals on 15 shots. So solid job for Richter so far. Sorry about that. I think that was a doorbell in the background. Alright, so do put in a goal there. I believe that was Bure. So that does bring us to a 3-0 lead. Around 2.5 minutes left in the third. So, like I said, a rough scoring game for me most of the time. I like to get I guess a win is a win, and it really depends on the game you're playing, but most of the time I like getting around 7 or 8 goals. At least. I don't know. I think I'm playing on Pro. Normally isn't too hard to score. Obviously, when you bump it down to easy or maybe even beginner, then I think it's rookie, then beginner is the way the levels go. But if you bump it down to rookie, then the goalies don't really poke check as much. Obviously, they're not as good, neither is the team. So if I do a series like this again, or if I do I've been thinking about just doing a single gameplay for you guys, just with the usual teams. This is a basic NHL Hitz gameplay video instead of doing the full-on season, because this was just the whole purpose of this for me was to just kind of go back and show you guys what it was like to do a fantasy draft on this game. And kind of like I said, it was just a lot of fun for me, because this is one of my favorite modes on one of my favorite games. Is I do bury my 4th goal on the power play here. Yeah, Pavel Bure, so it gives him the hat trick. But like I said, this was one of my favorite modes, and I thought it was cool that you were able to do a fantasy draft on a game like this. I am big into a lot of fantasy sports. If you watch a couple of my other videos, then you probably know that anyway. But so fantasy drafts are always fun for me, especially on old games like this where I was a hockey fan. Even when I've been a hockey fan all my life, so seeing some of these guys, from when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and you can go back and I guess kind of relive what guys you're fans of and experienced on video games with when you were a kid. As I do bury my 5th goal here, I believe that's Adam Foote. Giving him his 2nd of the season. I don't think he's played in any other games besides the ones that I played him in person. I don't think they put him in for any of the sims. So, like I was getting at, it is a pretty fun time. If you guys played this game as a kid, or if you played really any of the, it wasn't Black Box Entertainment. They just did the Hits games, I'm pretty sure. I think it was Midway Sports that did all the Slugfest, Blitz, Hits, and then I can't remember exactly. It was NBA. I don't think it was NBA Jam. I can't remember what the NBA game was. It wasn't NBA Street. It was a completely different set of game makers, because they did NBA Street and then NFL Street. But do come to the end with a 5-0 victory here. Brings me to, I believe it's 7-3 on the season. So 4 games left to go, and then I will conclude you guys with this series with my regular season finale. So yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.